Welcome to the podcast on this Veterans Day from Second Cup of Sunrise. He's James, I'm Brennan.
Yes.
Thank you to all of our heroes and our veterans, everything they do. Well, a lot of celebrations around town, and we have our special coming up tonight, Veterans Voices series. This is 7 on our TV. I'm sure we'll have it here on this app. It was Adam Chodak, anchor reporter, obviously, and then Emily Burkhart, one of our great photogs. They took a trip together with Rochester Honor Flight, one of the recent missions to D.C.
Went on the trip, went on scene, which is cool. Usually we just get them coming in and out of the airport, but they really went on the whole journey, which is different.
It is, and this series, when we do it each year, it's kind of, we'll do, like 5 pieces from different stories, whether it's Vietnam, something with one of the world wars or something else. But this is all about Honor Flight, that trip from start to finish, and it's incredible. So we'll have that coming up later on. What a morning this was. Oh,
wild morning.
So yesterday when we woke up, we were like, okay, got some snow. First time this season. That's nice. A little bit of a dusting. Woke up this morning, like 2:30 or so, looked out the window, and I was like, oh, buddy.
Different scene.
This is going to be that first drive in before the plows are really out. How's that going to be?
Right.
It was, so when I leave Webster, I was driving, hopped on 104, and I'm like, boy, there's out of my driveway onto 104, maybe 3 inches of snow at that point, which was 3 a.m. And then get to the Bay Bridge. I'm like, we're improving, 590, get to the city, and I'm like, boy, nothing here. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
No.
As expected, that was just such a sweet spot there in Webster over to Ontario along 104 in that direction. Usual sweet spot. You kind of, when you get a west-northwest flow, that's when you see snow. It's still snowing there right now. It will likely keep snowing there for the next several hours. But what's interesting is along Lake Ontario, you're getting to the point where the temperature's already getting above freezing. So we're starting to see some melting there as well. So it's going to be kind of a mix of where you get this slushy stuff that's melting, compaction, but it's still not pleasant to drive around.
And this will be gone by Thursday. Yeah. We'll have that. Melting.
40s.
We'll have that.
Once we get right up there.
I got a text from, obviously it's Veterans Day, no one's at school, so my wife is home. They're out playing outside in the snow right now, and she's like,
I love that.
I just got a text before we started this saying, oh my gosh, the leaves on top of the snow.
Oh,
so there's some underneath and on top.
It's like a sandwich.
I know. It might just have to give up at this point. Yeah. I was wondering, because you brought this up yesterday, you were like, you need to check your snowplow contract. Because a lot of them will start November 15th, which, by the way, is this weekend, not now.
Not today, right.
And I was curious as I was going through, this was the middle of our Sunrise show, so don't tell my bosses I'm just on my Gmail going through checking my contract. And I pulled it up from October whenever I paid it, the season in full. And I read the fine print in one of the first clauses. The season was November 15th, and I think they go March 31st. And I was like, oh boy. And then about the same time, I get a ring notification from my garage camera, and I see the big lights. They're there.
They showed up.
And I was like, they're making good on it.
Nice.
Try to keep the customers happy. Yeah, the first one.
I think you got to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, they knew this was coming for like a week in advance. You know, we had a lot of prior warning. This is not out of the blue. So they've had time to get the salt ready and get the plows on and things like that. So, for what it's worth, this was, I think, well forecast. So they knew that something was coming. And then, voila, it verifies. So like you said, I mean, talk about, it's customer service at this point.
Yeah, verified,
first one,
right on it.
And not nearly as many people are going to be on the roads today.
Right.
Which will make clearing things easier. And it seems like the timing was all right. Heaviest snow was in the morning, kind of 3 to 6, 7 a.m. So ideally, they could start getting a lot of that work done while people were still sleeping.
And when we were coming up with our morning news coverage plan, Eric Schettelbauer, who was our chief photog, we were like, listen, you got the driving camera. Can you give us some driving live looks out 104 Ridge Road from Webster to Ontario to Williamson?
Yeah.
It's like, that's going to be it. You'll be able to see it, and we'll show people what the conditions are like, as safe as we can. And then about 4:30, 4:45 this morning, I see this report on Twitter about a water main break in the city.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it happens fairly frequently.
Yeah,
and I was like, can you just swing on by? This is Culver and Empire, and check it out, Northeast Rochester, and let us know. And he goes up there, and then I get a text from him saying, buddy, this is like 2 or 3 feet of water. And I was like, so a real thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, just hang tight there. Let's do some live looks on our camera. And so this moment happened on TV as we were 5:29, so just starting our half hour there.
Man.
And it's not often that something happens in the news where it's just so stunning that you're just like, oh my gosh, like what is happening?
Right.
Like usually we can process it and handle it, but
Yeah.
this is you and I who got thrust into some play-by-play. Felt like if we worked at a TV station in LA and there's a high-speed chase or something, you just go wall to wall for this.
You don't see this too often.
So this happened. All right. And this is, we didn't know exactly what was coming up in the shot.
We had no idea.
I knew that we were taking a water main break live, and then
We'll
this happened.
begin with our weather coverage and the morning commute. Our News 8 dash cam there. We sent our chief photog Eric out to find some snow.
I think my jaw dropped
There's a
at this point.
car stuck in the middle of a water main break. It looks like 2 feet of water. That is obviously not what you should be doing if you come across that, because they have orange cones set up. This is Culver Road,
the
Meredith
trash is
Street.
floating
That is basically
around.
Culver and Empire
then they turn around.
Boulevard, and someone trying to turn around there now. You can see crews have that whole area shut down. This is covering just about the whole block in both directions, and that car driver trying to get out of that water after getting stuck.
Okay, so they're
And
trying to figure which way do I go? Left,
Yeah.
right, center.
We don't know what's going to happen. And the way this works in this business is Eric is dialed in, so he can hear us speaking. So he knows what to show, and we've worked together long enough. I know what he's going to show if I'm just, speaking off the cuff.
wherever they were going.
Oh my goodness,
But-
looks like they're okay.
Yes, they are right now, and
Oh
don't
my
just
gosh.
stop and wait.
Over the break.
Oh boy, we gotta stay on this.
We have to
Go.
again, everyone.
Look at how heavy.
The saying
water's
is-
deep.
Turn the lights flashing
Right,
as you
flash
get through
at that
that
person.
flooding, and
Yeah, yeah.
another one coming
No,
too.
no.
Just stop.
Don't do that.
I mean, this is just live. This is not what we were expecting to
my
show this to
gosh.
everybody, but they do say turn around, don't drown, and this is the clear reason why, because of how deep that water is with that water main
The
break.
person just flashed their lights with that Jeep.
Thanks.
Yeah, not good.
I know.
That's what the cones are there for.
Yeah.
Looks like they should probably put the cones maybe further out.
Our photographer's been waving people
gosh,
by, telling them to
wild.
stop, and for now,
man.
everything is clear. But you see the hole right there where the water is
Yeah, the
shooting
car
out.
just
You
drove
say-
right over the break.
It's as much as we say that we're kind of Monday morning quarterbacking. It's hard to tell how deep that water is.
Yeah.
When you're driving up to it.
Yeah, and then you get halfway through that street, and then it is up to the car door.
Wow.
Again, things to avoid.
Right.
Having that. We will begin.
I mean, it was just wild. And
Yeah.
like all that was happening, you see the car's lights flicker, like were they flashing the lights saying "Don't go."
Yeah.
Eric's out there waving his hand saying, "Like people, this is 2 or 3 feet of water in
Yeah.
some spots. If you're driving across that issue, you don't want a hole to open up
Right.
beneath you."
Exactly. The weight of the car could cause more issues. One, two. Like, you could mess your car up. You got stuff underneath your car that you
I know.
want flooded in water.
I know, and then it just kept going and going. Now these poor people around there, we've seen video of flooded basements too,
Yeah,
and it
it's-
is just like that water kept going from like 5 till we're just after 9. I think it just got shut off before the 9 o'clock hour, and it was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But these people, and I mean, we put them on blast, but it was like, stop, like,
Yeah, you
like
gotta stop.
you realize,
I'm
like,
sure
at least
Eric
sit
was
there.
probably behind the camera
He was.
doing
He
this.
was. He ended up calling 911 at a point because he was like, hey, you need to get someone back out here because people are still trying to drive through.
Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't any police officer waving people on.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
And just driving through the cones.
They just
but-
gotta let it pretty much go, right? Until they can try to shut the water off at a
so they
certain
can.
point.
Yeah.
Right?
Finding
I mean,
where it was in these poor crews in those conditions, because later on you could see some of that water freezing of just where it was. And there were neighbors standing out on porches and just like, what are we going to do? Trash cans in the middle of the road.
it's such a tough situation.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Go move your car to the next block?
Yeah, it's just unlucky.
If you're stuck. Yeah.
You know, it just right. If you're in your driveway and the road is literally flooded, you call your boss and say, "Look, not happening today."
There's a bigger topic here that we don't have to get into about America's infrastructure and
sure.
and pipes and everything, but oh my gosh, like what a way. And so that ended up being the traffic story of the day, because it was not just, sometimes you get a water main break and like they close down one lane. This was like a whole block right there near Empire Boulevard, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. That was, I love how you said,
Exciting news for what it's worth.
I love how you said it was, and thankfully everyone was okay that we know of. You said like Monday morning quarterback, and I was like, this is like 4 o'clock Sunday quarterbacking, like when the
watching the
game's
game.
going on, and it was
you're
just
right.
like, oh my gosh. And I can't remember the last time something like that happened.
Yeah, right. Where
I know.
you're literally watching something unfold itself on live TV.
I know. I thought the car was just going to start smoking, like with the exhaust, or get flooded or drowned out, and These people. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
But anyway,
they got away. They got a story to tell.
so that was our story to tell too. And I was just like, I messaged George, our web guy, and I was like, did you just see this? And he was like, yeah, I'm watching it. And like, it was like incredible. And so Iran ended up going out there.
Yes.
We pivot. So like whatever's going on in the news, we can quickly, she was talking about government shutdown, airline delays and stuff. There were big developments, a vote trying to reopen the government. And then we're like, we got to go. Move.
Yeah,
It's not
this
just
is
driving
another
live shots
story.
in the snow. Yeah.
Right.
Wild.
Yeah, it's you had the snow element, and then on top of that, it's a totally separate issue with traffic.
It's just traffic. Yeah. If there was no snow, it would still be just a big a deal because what was going on. Okay. This snow, how much longer? As we're talking
well,
in the morning.
Depends on where you live, right?
Yeah.
If you are in that area, Webster over to Ontario and Williamson, even over into Sodus, just got a message of someone in the town of Sodus, south of Sodus Point, that they're still getting some pretty heavy snow right now. So I do expect that in those areas for another hour or two, I'd say, until it finally starts to taper off. I could see maybe another inch or so in a lot of those spots, but then it starts to melt. By noontime, we're above freezing, and then we see a lot of that beginning to melt for just about everybody going into the next couple days, where we're going to start to see rain showers. Looks like Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some morning rain, 40s for you in the afternoon. So just kind of a quick hitting blast of cold, impacted a lot across the country. You saw Chicago, Northern Illinois, Indiana, a lot of these spots, Ohio, did see a lot of snow there as well. Same Erie, Pennsylvania. They're going to get their lake effect snow too.
One thing we noticed, and you had the map yesterday, is lake effect snow, whenever we think about it, it's always going really west to east or a little toward the southeast. Whenever you look at Chicago, and I've never really paid attention to it, it's like shooting just like straight down from the lake.
Yeah.
And they had it from Sunday through now.
It's like basically if you took Lake Ontario and you turned it vertically.
Yeah, and it's it. And it's just a tunnel, a ton of snow that was going on. Speaking of, to not make light of the situation if you've got issues with the snow, but we were talking about for What's Up Rock this morning. She was in the house.
Right.
And we want to know what people thought. And this is what we asked was, when you go to someone's house, do you take your shoes off all the time? Is that like the common rule if someone comes over to your house, or what do you do?
Yeah.
I was always growing up, and mind you, this is Mississippi and Memphis.
Yeah, warmer.
Carolina's
Warmer
warmer,
climates,
yes, not dealing with snow or muddy boots.
Right.
And we always, any birthday party, Thanksgiving, Christmas, shoes were just on. You never took them off.
Yeah,
And whenever we started coming up here, going to my in-laws' house and everywhere, it's every shoe's off, and then you got to think, all right, well, what socks do I have on?
Yeah,
or what about that? Or how are they
Dirty
are they
socks,
wet?
full in
Are they
socks.
dirty?
Yeah,
What's the
get a
bottom of
hold
them
of
look
it.
like?
Yeah.
And you're in the clear majority.
Yeah,
75%.
no, take them off, and then I usually will bring slippers
Yeah.
to the house that I'm going at. Like my house, do not go outside slippers, so I keep those with me as well. And I do think it's got to be a climate thing when you have snow
Has to.
always, and it gets so muddy in the spring and the fall's wet as well. We have a wet climate, so I think that has a lot to do with it. And you don't want to track all that mud into somebody's house, but it is funny when you go to a Christmas party, and then there's like 100 pairs of shoes and it's jammed in the mudroom.
And there's just not like a big enough. I've got the mud flats, the little grates where people just put them on the mats where they can dry, and it's just boots stacked on top of boots, and then someone else's shoes are getting wet from someone else's shoes. Andy, our producer, did say, not because I have to, but because I prefer to have them off. This is part of the barefoot group of our Sunrise team, which there are several of them. Iran being one of them, and just can't do it. Always got to have something on.
Love it.
Yeah, slides or something like that.
In the summer, we'll have parties and things like that in the summer and invite people over. And I will specifically say, keep your shoes on. It's fine. Just if they have a little bit of dirt on them, just wipe them off. You can keep them on.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually I think in the summertime, that's when things are a little bit more, you ask generally. And then I will I'm pretty upfront about it. Take your shoes off, please, or keep them on in the summer, because then I'll mop after.
We have one member of the family who will go unnamed, who always, the shoes are on, regardless. Everywhere.
Really? No
everywhere he
matter
goes. Yeah, everywhere. And we all know, it's everywhere for everything, just never comes off. Yeah. We got a lot more to talk about here on the pod. Halfway through on this Tuesday, Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
Where's he been?
Drama.
Sean McDermott had an interesting answer on that. And we're going to talk about driverless cars. There was one that made the trek, I guess, through the snow from Rochester to Geneva today. All of that ahead on the pod. Back here on the pod, second cup of sunrise this Tuesday. I'm Brennan. He's James. A bit of a slightly less than great week for Bills Mafia. After they
lost to Miami.
The egg against the Dolphins of getting blown out. Dalton Kincaid, the hamstring pull. So he's the one who was out for week to week. And then, what's his name? Landon Jackson blew out his knee, maybe 2 torn ligaments. So he'll be out for indefinite amount of time. Sean McDermott talked about that yesterday. And then he was also asked about on-the-field performance or lack thereof. And the conversation came up about Keon Coleman, the wideout who's in his second year. And some Sundays you'll see Bills fans talking about this like, where is he? Like, and all of a sudden, talk about, yes, he just had a touchdown. But before that, they're like, okay, where's the other production? And let me just give you Sean McDermott's response. And this reporter who, during part of the answer, tried to say, listen, my bad, Sean, but gotta ask.
He knows if I'm not satisfied, man. Just like any player, it's fair that you're asking about it. I can promise you it gets addressed when it isn't where it needs to be. There are times, like any player or any performer, where it's exactly where it needs to be, and there are times when it's not, and then we have to address it to get it hopefully where it needs to be. So it's addressed. It's been good at times, and other times it can improve for sure.
Baker steps up in the pocket.
That's a very
It's been addressed.
somber tone, kind of serious, and like he gets it. But I do love like when he starts to answer, he's like, it's been addressed, and you hear the reporter go, sorry, it was just like I was just going to ask about it, and he gets it. When you look up his stats, so he had the touchdown Sunday. So, but the catches, like the best game was the Ravens. So 8 catches, more than 100 yards, had a score there. But the other games, like nothing above 50 yards. Twice in the 40s.
Yeah.
Since
Look at
then,
that. 4 catches for 23 yards against the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. It's
Not great.
and he's supposed to be like the number one. And when you read this Bills Wire story, mind you, Josh Allen was so deflated after that game. Obviously, the whole team was, and you understand why.
Right.
But one of the things he was asked was about Coleman, if he's doing enough with the chances he's given. And there was a bit of a long pause. Allen gave it some thought and said, he got one today. So yeah. So take that answer for what it is, and also in the context of just how he was feeling overall. But they kicked the tires on Waddle, who scored against them, but Dolphins didn't want to move him and before the trade deadline, and this is who they have. But Coleman's a big dude. You look at him and you think like he should just be getting everything.
I'd like to see Josh Palmer get healthy. I mean, we'll see what happens when he comes back.
Yeah.
Because he did play a decent role when he was healthy, but I guess he's kind of got some hamstring issue too. So I think he's a good receiver that, if he can get open, should be available for Allen.
Yeah, and that's something we'll be following. Some other stories staying with sports. This was a big deal. The MLB player bribery scandal. So Major League Baseball made this announcement as we're obviously past the World Series. They've got GM meetings this week, team owner meetings. It says it has authorized gaming operators to cap bets on individual pitches at $200 and take them away from parlays. The move comes after 2 pitchers for the Cleveland Guardians were indicted over claims that they were rigging pitches for gamblers. MLB says the limits on this agreement came with sportsbooks that represent more than 98% of the U.S. betting market, so just about everyone. And what happened with the indictment, when you read through it, there were some, in Major League Baseball, what you could do with, depending on the sports book, whatever your limit would be, put as much money as you wanted to on any single pitch, in any inning, whatever count, that it would be a ball or a strike.
That's crazy.
And what they said is that these 2 players basically worked with gamblers, that they'd come out, say it was 3rd or 4th inning, first pitch was going to be a ball.
Yeah.
Or the first one of a game.
Right.
And some of these would end up in the dirt, or they'd just be way off.
Yeah.
And that's okay, it's just one pitch, but the way that it's set up, that, and people say this is the problem of sports gambling, it's going to lead to more of this, but also Vegas wants integrity. These sports books flagged this. They caught it.
Yeah,
they were like, why were $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 being put on this one pitch in this random game in whatever inning?
Right.
And it got
And that's
picked
how they
up.
see it. Where there's a big spike in these little tiny random prop bets.
They flagged it? Yeah.
If you put like, 100,000 on a team to win a game, they're not going to flag that because it's a whole team and it's to win or lose a game. So that's where you see the big bets. But these little small prop bets, usually you see smaller bets. But when you see the massive people putting $15,000-$20,000 on whether or not the first pitch of the third inning is going to be a ball, and they win. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
Someone on Twitter, they went back and found they went trying to look for some of these pitches, and one of them was a pitch nowhere near the strike zone, bounced in the dirt.
Yeah.
The guy swung on it, so it's a strike.
Oh,
So that cost the better, whatever.
Oh, that's
and it's
fun.
just like, it's just wild. And it's just all of them allegations, but if they just, all of it or part of it turns out to be true, just think about these athletes. Like, you get paid to throw pitches for millions, and here you
Yeah.
are for maybe $7,000 to get a kickback on a random pitch in July
so
or
weird.
whenever.
You could lose your job, lose your career.
I know. Just throwing it away. So that was some quick action to put some limits on that. So now it's just a couple $100 on those pitches. We got this story yesterday that came through.
Yeah.
Hello, Waymo.
Yes.
The driverless car, autonomous is the word they use for it, spotted around town, making its way through here, going to Geneva today. So this is part of a public showcase at Hobart and William Smith colleges. Now, Waymo obviously is in business, wants to make money, is trying to change the ban here in New York, and it's state by state for the fully auto rides for being ride-hailing service. So Uber, Lyft, but no driver here in New York.
Right.
Waymo already runs pilots for this in like California, different other states, and I believe it's State Senator Cooney, who he graduated, I think, from that college.
Oh, okay.
So part of the showcase, and he's on a transportation committee,
William Smith.
and I think he's trying to push this through as maybe something to do. But
Yeah.
we saw this come through, and we were like, wait a second.
There it is.
There you
Humming
go.
along. So this is very common in San Francisco.
Yes.
So if you go to San Francisco, you will see these just about everywhere, and it's almost normal there.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, it's like, oh wow, novelty and cool and interesting, but it is normal out there. So according to the internet, based on extensive data and multiple studies, Waymo's self-driving technology has demonstrated a statistically significant safety advantage compared to human drivers in areas where it operates. Independent analyses show substantially lower crash and injury rates for Waymo vehicles. So fewer injuries and crashes, reduced insurance claims, better at avoiding severe crashes because it's not drinking and driving.
Yeah.
It's not speeding. It's not distracted as well. It's always constantly alert, right? With all those cameras.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of transparency within the company. They do say when there's crashes. They do talk about it as well. So, for what it's worth, I heard an account from the New York Times of a guy saying like he had like a 17-year-old daughter that had just learned how to drive, right? And he's saying being in the passenger side of a Waymo is like being with his 17-year-old daughter. Super slow, super cautious, following all the rules, extremely focused.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense because, you know, when you're a first driver, you're not touching your phone, you're focused on the road, you're going the speed limit.
It's amazing how they do it when you see videos of people, whether it's with Tesla or Waymo or any other group, and it's just like the wheel is just going.
Right.
I got to get in one. I got to have the experience of what are we doing today? Do we have to do the noon? Can we go to Geneva and try to check this out?
Yeah, check it out.
But it's interesting. Can you imagine? I haven't had the experience of driving down the road and turning to my right or left and seeing no one.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And here it is, the safest driver out on the thruway. We've got more coming your way on this Veterans Day on our noon show on your TV. Back here with the pod tomorrow morning, second cup of sunrise at 9.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 On Demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.